Yesterday we started reading the poem The Collar by George Herbert, and we discussed the theme, how the poem opened, what was the tone, how is the title. We also went through little biography of the poet, and in the beginning we saw that the narrator is talking about his past life. He is very angry because he had faced lot of troubles, and he thought that he paid attention to his mind. He must have thought accordingly, he must have done the things, but he is unhappy. So he wishes to do things that his heart says. Dil ki suno, as I was talking about it yesterday. Now he wants to do those things which his heart says, which he thinks, not thinking, but his heart may feel that okay. Moreover, he is confident of his abilities, and for that, towards the discussion of the yesterday's lecture, I read that the narrator says that he has hands. Having hands is not a common thing. It is a matter, biological thing. All people have. But here, when the narrator says that he has experienced a lot of troubles, thinking that he would have peace in the life, according to the plans he might have thought. But now he would obey his heart, and then his hands would do those things, and expects he would have happiness. So that is how it is a suggestive thing. I read the poem from the beginning so that the continuity may be carried on, and then whatever things are left we shall discuss. I struck the board and cried, "No more! I will abroad." What? Shall I ever sigh and pine? My lines and life are free, free as the road, loose as the wind, as large as store. Shall I be still in suit? Have I no harvest but a thorn to let me bleed blood and not restore what I have lost with a cordial fruit? Such there was wine before my sighs did right. There was corn before my tears did drown it. Is the year only lost to me? Have I no bays to crown it? No flowers, no garlands gay? All blasted, all wasted? Not so, my heart, but there is a fruit, and thou hast hands. That is what we read. Look the inner rhyme scheme, how the poet has played with the word. In the beginning we find board, abroad, then lines and life. Then we go still in suit, sir, sir, sir. Then uh, yes, size and corn and throne. That is how he made the rhyme in the words. Then flowers, garlands, then rhyming of blasted, wasted, hard, fruit. That is how he is playing with the words. It is also very difficult to maintain the rhythm. If we go through the uh, particular lines, you will see that the poet has followed irregular meters. First line is very long, second line is short, third line is somewhat longer. Again, fourth line is a big one. So the things scheme that is arranged in such a way This shows how the narrator's temper is. Sometimes feelings come very powerfully, and he has to say a lot of things, and then he makes the argument very short. In temper, how does a man react? We do not know, and that is perhaps the thing over here. Ultimately, we are going through a narrator's anger, anger towards the Almighty God. He is unhappy and wishes that God should not have tested him like that way. And now he lost perhaps faith in him, and that's why he wished to do what his heart says, because the fruits are not there. Recover all thy sigh blown age. Now he is telling to him. Here you will mark some of the verbs. Tone is also changed. The narrator is talking to himself. He now asks, rather wishes, and that's why imperative sentences you will find. Do, obey, work, like these words you will find. So here is the first thing is heart listens to. Recover. He is asking himself that you recover all thy sigh blown age. Look the word, sigh blown age. What sort of it? Age shows a very long time. Duration is very long. But what sort of time he passed? Sigh blown means only pain and troubles. It was a long period full of downs, you can say. All the time, the narrator must have felt troubles. Sorrow must have overwhelmed him. So that is known as sigh blown age. Remember that a person who is in pain always feels that time is very long. It doesn't pass very quickly. It tests a man's ability and his temper, and that is how uh, he says that you now come out of this. You have gone through it, but forget and leave it behind. So recover, sigh blown age, or double pleasure. Look here, actually, this is the verb he has used, double, right? Pleasures means that there were pleasures were maybe a little bit, but now he wishes to double them. It means that is how he expects happiness from the life. He tells his own heart that whatever pleasures you had, now multiply them, double them. Leave thy cold dispute. This is third thing. First is recover from cyclone. Second thing is that you double your pleasures. And third thing, thy cold dispute, whatever disputes with the life you have, or whatever the disputes you have with the God, leave them behind. And life is not meant for such kind of cold attitude. Cold attitude shows kind of passive attitude, kind of things which you want to run away. Uh, you can say unhappy thing, or not will to do. That is cold thing. Here, life cannot run in this way. One has to be very active. One has to take interest. One has to show his willingness, whatever the life may provide to, and do them. So warmth, love, happiness, all these things will come when you have such kind of active attitude, or you can say your active mind goes to them. So cold disputes, we may have a lot of disputes with life, but that way life will not run. One has to forget them and look forward to the life. As this is the first morning of the new year, we knew that what have happened in the last year, corona, covid, and a lot of troubles we had, but That was called thing. But let us be warm to the new year. Let us have hope to the new year, and that is how our life may be fulfilled with expected dreams. So, third thing, leave code disputes of what is a fit and not. Look, now the sentence is complete. What is called? What is your view towards life? Sometimes you think that this is not fit, this is not suitable to me, but things in the life may not be fit all the time, may not be suitable all the time, because life does not provide you what you want. Life has its own ways, and we have to fit, we have to adapt. And adaptability skill is also one thing that one person must have. So our adaptability to the life must be there. If we are not adapted to the ways of the world, then definitely things may be against us, may be odd to us. And hence he says that you live everything you say that will be suitable to you. If they are not suitable, you will suit to them. If they are not fit, you will be fit to them. So that is how he changes himself. Means the narrator in the beginning complained that these were the things. Now he changes his attitude and wishes to do those things which his heart says. And that is how he says that you start doing this thing. Uh, Prepare yourself to face all odds of life. So attitude is changed. Forsake thy cage. Continues that you do this, do this, do this. Now what he wishes to do. Forsake thy cage. Again here is a symbol. Cage. The narrator was not in the cage. He is not imprisoned. But we all know that life is a big cage. Sometimes we think that we are free and we watch the animals that are caged. But the animals and some people who are in the gaol, they have smaller cage. But our life is a big cage. The world is a big cage. Cage of responsibilities. Cage of our dreams. Cage of many duties. Many things have uh, covered us, and we are pressed under them. So it is a big cage. The writer was free actually. He was going to the ferry, doing all the works, but then later on he realized that it was the cage, and from that he wants to come out now. So that is how symbolic. The poem is also philosophical in the terms that we always have been imprisoned by our particular thinking. Our soul is caged in our body that way, and the soul will always be liberated. It will go away, leaving the body. Uh, Towards the end of the poem, I will also discuss how the poem stands philosophically, how it symbolizes the narrator and the life. But here is the indication when the word cage has come. So uh, you leave this cage, forsake thy cage, thy rope of sands, you leave behind. Number one, cage. Another thing, thy rope of sands. Here, for the first time, the word rope has come. I want to draw your attention towards the title. Title is a collar, which is around the neck, and here cable has come. Sorry, rope. Rope can be put around the neck. Rope can also be a kind of a collar. We shall discuss little bit just now. Rope of sands means that rope on the sand means pulling the ship uh, out of the sea or pulling the ship into the sea. Means it indicates he is a life of a sailor. So you leave. That thing was controlling to you, that kind served as a kind of limitation to you. So that rope you now leave behind. So these are the things he is suggesting to his own self. Again I read, recover all thy siblonage uh, on double pleasures, leave thy cold dispute of what is fit and not, forsake thy cage, thy rope of sands, of what is, yes, which petty thoughts have made and made to thee good cable. Here, one word was there, the rope of sands. Another word has come, good cable. But before that, let us read, which petty thoughts have made. Uh, he now thinks that those were the petty thoughts, means useless thoughts he considered them. Going to the life, working day and night at the sea, pulling the ropes and controlling the sheep, passing many days there, loneliness, hard work, thinking of horrible experiences, not getting things in his favor. These were the petty thoughts. Now you leave them and make to thee good cable. Remember that you leave this, and what do you think? These things served to you as a petty cable, good cable. Cable means here wire. Wire means here rope. Rope here means collar. This is the conceit in the poem. Metaphysical poetry is having this particular aspect. The poets use conceit. There is an indirect reference to something. Here in the poem there is no word collar, but this word indicates a good cable. Cable is always used for something, controlling or pulling something, for binding something, or for other purposes. Here, these are the things that served as a cable. Cable means collar. Collar means controlling. As you have a collar around the neck of a dog and then you lead, means a dog is under your control through the collar. Same way, collar is also used for the priests in the church. It shows that the priests follow the rules and regulations given by the scriptures, following the rules of the Bible. It means obedience to the God. It means that God is the master. Through some rules, he put the collar. So collar, having collar by the priests means they would always be slaves to the God, or they would submit themselves to the services of God, or you may think that they would do everything according to the wishes of the God. Ultimately, God is the master. So collar is the symbol, and collar here means religion. Collar here means church, and that is how church rules. Church means the things mentioned by the God, or whatever things have been suggested in the scriptures. So following the rules is a kind of a collar. People think that certain rules are there, they crush them, they suppress them. These rules of life, rules of leading the life, may seem to be a kind of a collar. And that is how what the narrator thought. Narrator thinks that it is a collar. So from this collar, collar of rules, collar of obedience, collar of God's authority, that is indicated by good cable. Here good does not show positive thing. Even though it is positive, it shows the negative. Good here means that was overpowering you. That was totally controlling to you. In that sense, good. Here, good is actually bad. Look, that is how we analyze the poem. We understand the particular words that have been used. So here, it doesn't bring out any positive. The connotative meaning is negative. Good cable means good maybe for others, not for you. That is how he thinks. Good cable. So indication of the title. That is what the poem says. That is what the theme is, that God's authority over us, and one is against it. Right? One wants freedom from that collar. One wants to remove that collar, throwing out and expecting things would be very easy. One would be very free. So there is always a authority of God over people. And the narrator says that I do not want that collar. Till now I thought it was a good cable, but it is not good. So conceit, the title, you always mention it when you write the answer. You always explain whatever conceits are there in the poem. If you are talking about particular poem, make it clear. How does conceit play the role? What is it? If you are writing general question of metaphysical poetry in all, then you can mention a few, maybe from Donne's poem or maybe one from Herbert's poem. You may pick up anyone. It doesn't mean that you also mention Herbert's conceit or Andrew Marvell, even though you may write only of John Donne's conceit. Things would be sufficient enough. But you are